Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I get that wrong straight away. Look, it's NWA Samhain Part Two of Samhain. Part Two this week. All the most of the people behind me are in action on the show, and it's NWA, which means, of course, one thing with the black cat in the picture, which is quite handy considering it's Halloweeny Christmas on NWA. It is my NWA compadre, Miss Fiona Lochran. Good evening.
Good evening, my darling. I feel like it's been ages since we've done this. I know we only did it last week, but it seems like so long ago.
It's literally been a week, but yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. It has felt like a while since we've done this, but NWA was back, part two of Samhain, the Halloweeny Christmas themed show.
It's a weird vibe. I kind of like it though.
It is a weird vibe. It totally is a weird vibe, but it's one and it's been very enjoyable for a start. That's for sure. But before we get there, some news coming out of NWA this weekend was we've got another new territory.
That's exciting. Welcome TSW to the NWA family. I haven't been to the OC where they're currently housed, which is where Shockwave's going to be in January. I did go to the old location in Addison. The TSW show I went to was just brilliant. It was so good, and there was people that I have seen pop up on NWA since. Folk like CJ was there. Um, Soda Pop Hendrix was there as well. Um, who else was there? Obviously, Tim Storm, who's not at NWA anymore, was there. Um, who else? Rodney was there, Jazz was there. So yeah, I'm really excited for them. Texas is such a huge state. So having two, even three, maybe even four promotions in Texas, I don't think is a bad thing. So it's exciting for them.
It
I'm
is.
really pleased.
Yeah, it is. It's a great news for them, and it expands the NWO. So even more stars will have to get used to seeing, which will be always fun and game. So well done, and congratulations to TSW.
Absolutely. And more stuff for us all to watch as well. TSW are going on Tex TV shortly. I'm not sure what that means for international fans in terms of if we'll be able to access it or not. But as far as I know, Tex TV are taking them up and we'll be airing kind of weekly shows on there. So I'm going to have a little dig into that because I'd quite like to keep track of them.
And that means you're going to have to keep me and our listeners in to see when we can watch it as well, because we'd all want to be watching that and getting the eyes on the NWA stars of tomorrow, or
Absolutely.
at least stars of maybe 2025. Who knows? We're getting very close to that already. But let's get involved with NWA Samhain Part 2. The opening was all about Drax. Bloody hell, I'm really representing Max and the non-binary Nightmares opponent and the main event, cast by Bartholomew Drake. But as always with these NWA packages, they are really, really good, aren't they?
They are indeed. They are indeed. That actually got me quite excited for that main event, the Hell Awaits match.
Hell awaits, yes, hell did await them, and hell will be awaiting us when we get to it in a minute, for sure. But the show actually started off with Alex Misery and Lev. Now I forgot Lev was part of the kids.
Yeah, I did as well until they mentioned it on comms, and I was like, oh, so he was.
Yes, me too. I totally forgot about it. Now this was a junior heavyweight number one contender match, and I
With a
think
20-minute time limit as well, which is quite lengthy for NWA.
it did have a 20-minute time limit. And I will say, you don't we don't see these guys often, like Misery and Lev, and obviously there's loads of other things going on. I forgot how good they were. They were really, really good. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was,
Well, what they got to do.
yes, we will tag into that in a second. But these two, I think, like, I don't know, they just really impressed me more than normal. Like, I'm not saying more than normal because that's not the right word, but these guys just really impressed me in the match. They look like they've worked well together before. I don't know if they've ever
I've
wrestled,
got no idea on that one.
but it just looks so smooth,
Well-oiled machine.
well-oiled machine indeed. But getting back to Fiona's point, what they did get in. Now, most of the way through this match, we had a little visitor, a good friend well, said a good friend of ours,
Friend of yours, potentially.
a good friend. Gags the Gimp makes his return for, it's been a while since we've
It
seen
has been a while.
Gags was on our screen, but he wasn't alone in this. Now, is it Casio?
Okay, Zio.
Okay, I forgot the O.
Casey, yeah.
Ocasio joined him, and he was hitting everything that moved with a kendo stick, including in the end gags as well. He did hit gags, so that he caused a DQ. Well, I suppose he caused a
Yeah,
double.
the match was thrown out. Just, yeah.
Match was thrown out. We don't know what happens. Obviously, what's going to happen now with the number one contendership is Ocasio wanting some of this as well. I've never, have I seen that guy before? Have
We
I?
have seen him in a ring now. It's been a while since we've seen him in an NWA ring, but we have seen him in an NWA ring before.
Gotcha.
I would need to go back through all my notes in this big fat notebook to find him, but yeah, we have seen him in the ring before.
That's some homework for you to do for next week, and you can tell us exactly when that was. I am joking. I don't really. We will. I'm sure I can
We'll
find.
figure it out.
We will figure it out. But yes, so none the wiser now who AT will be taking on, I suppose, at this coming weekend. We're actually going to have to do that. I'm going to have to get the match list up and we're going to have to do some predictions actually on Looks That Kill this weekend. I'll try and find it in a second on the Tinterweb and the matches that are coming at us. And obviously, it's going to kind of ruin a little bit, I suppose, as to matches that we haven't seen yet on Power, but that's just the nature of the tape.
That's just NWA standard.
NWA standard. Yeah, I will try and find it as well. But anyway, before we get to there was a promo this week for Magic Jake, a really good promo actually
Yeah, I like this little segment
by Magic Jake, and he was talking about teaming with Zion against the Baron and Jax, which
for
he
a no DQ match. No DQ. No, it's not no DQ, sorry, it was a submission match where the claw is banned. Now that is the Baron's thing. The real question is, what is he going to do without it? Or is he just going to be the Baron and say, I don't care, I'm going to go for it anyway, and then be DQ'd?
possibly, or is he just going to do what Jax does and take him to Trap City?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually quite looking forward to this one. It should be fun.
So we're guessing as a lot of these things we were right when we were predicting last week that Lev and other people's matches will happen this week. So
Yeah, I would be surprised if they're putting a promo like that out there on this week's show for it not to air that next week. It wouldn't make sense. To me, it wouldn't make sense, but
no, again it is NWA though. So more, and then we cut after that to the ever happy Austin Idol.
what is that guy's problem?
I don't know. He slaughtered May, didn't he?
He did. He's an asshole.
He's he's never happy there.
I can see why back in the day Velvet hated him so much.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get it.
Yeah, he was he's happy as ever self ranting away on the microphone.
Like, he's just a grumpy old man.
He is, he's definitely is. But yeah, he was just carrying on pretty much from where Magic Jake left off about Zion and whatever, and
And says that he's the reason that the claw is banned.
he is apparently. I'll have to talk. I mean, Billy needs to come out and give us a bit of thingy on that because clarity, shall we say,
Yeah.
on that because Austin.
Whether we'll get it or not, who knows?
Who knows indeed? Well, we will know next. Maybe we'll know next week because I'm sure that match will be next, which will be like we don't even know if they're going to air a Christmas Eve episode of Power or a Christmas
God,
Day.
that is next. I was going to say that's next week. That's in a fortnight.
Talk about the
So
week after. Yeah, I'm talking about the week after. But anyway, moving
maybe
on.
Christmas Eve power would be quite nice.
Well, it'd be Christmas Day by the time it finished for us. Think
Pretty
about
much, yeah. I'll
it.
still be wrapping up presents at that time of night anyway, so it's fine.
Um, no, I've done all mine. But I might be up with the family, so yeah, I'm gonna just put power on while I'm talking to them. You can uh, Christmas Day pod, anyone? Power? No, definitely not. Anyway, let's move on. Bit of a grudge match next. Actually, Southern Six, fresh off the beating of Kyle, who was back.
He
On,
was back. He was back. But on the note of Kyle, man, Billy was giving it on tight.
yeah, he was.
Billy was giving it on tight on comms, but that's something else to talk about.
He was indeed. It was the Southern Six against Colby Carino and Austin Idol.
No, Brian Idol, not Austin.
There's too many idols. Right, okay. Brian, he was moving like Austin Idol, to be fair. Sorry, Brian, but you're slow as fuck. Anyway, yeah, I thought that this one, I actually, it picked up, I think. The reason why I say about Brian, every time I felt Brian come in the ring, I felt as if the match really slowed to a not an unwatchable point, but I just felt it was just like really slow pace, like two robots hitting each other when he was in the ring. Only when he was in the ring. It was weird. When
Okay.
Kobe and Kerry or Kobe and Silas were in the ring, the moves were happening. And I
Do
just
you think that's maybe though because of the size of Silas in comparison to the other three?
mm,
Because the other three are kind of like Brian and Colby and Kerry are similar stature. Do you think that might have something to do with that? Or
it could do, but it just doesn't understand why it was so slow when Brian got in the ring, even if everything else. And that's what I put anyway. I mean, it is what it is. But I enjoyed the majority of the match. I enjoyed.
I quite liked it. I chuckled lots. Silas managed to knock Kerry off the apron not once but
Nice.
twice,
Yeah,
which
that
popped
was
me somewhat. Although
that
Kerry,
was
I
nice.
love that jacket still, regardless of what I think about you and whether I think you're a dick or not. I love your jacket.
If you want to send Fiona the jacket, Kerry, I'm sure she.
Well, he's not going to send me it now, is
I'm
he?
just going to say the chances of that happening now are slim enough. The one thing I did, and unless I missed this, I kept thinking the wrong guys were in the legal men in the match.
I think you might be right though, because at one point there was the comms was like, oh, I think it was Kerry in the ring, and they were like, but Kerry's not the legal man, and there was a little bit confusion on the commentary team about who was the legal person because there was
Yeah.
in one section there was a lot of tags in and out, and two people were in the ring wrestling, and the other two were fighting outside or went outside the ring and stuff. So there was quite a lot going on, and it was a little bit difficult to keep track of who was legal and who wasn't.
Yes, that was for me as well. And I was like, who's legal here? Who is legal? We done it. There was a great, there was a really good L driver. Was it called the L driver?
Hmm.
I love that finish. That's a really good.
That's how the win came about.
Did with the L driver. I love this. I did like there was a big top rope elbow as well from Silas.
There
He
was the one that you missed.
yeah, the one that
Quite cool to see somebody that size going up on the top rope. I was like,
you,
oh, this is good.
are you trying to get us in trouble now? The one that he missed. So
Well, he
in
did.
I know he did.
He
I
moved.
know he did. He did. He did move. He did. To be fair, he did move. And Colby Carino picks up the victory on
He
this.
did. He did. That was fun. And I've written that down. I was like, that was fun. I actually enjoyed that.
I did. For the majority of it, I did. I did enjoy the majority of that match. I really did.
And Brian Idol was wrestling in a vest, like a singlet and a vest as well. You're so used to seeing him just in like long trunks,
Then
but
at one point, he pulls one of the singlets down, and he kind of has like a nipple out and the other nipple in. Which is just like watching it this morning, like, oh my God. But yeah, he did. You're right. He had a singlet on, and they pick up the victory. I mean, it's not Colby. Colby isn't finished with a 7-6. We'll get into looks that kill in a minute. Nor is Brian Idol, for that matter, at all. Although we are going to have some fun in predicting some of these. I know we're not there yet, but we've got a TBD versus TBD. So I don't, it's going to be great to predict them. But anyway, we'll predict what we can predict as what's available to us at this time of
works for me.
filming. Anyway, so another match next week that's going to be airing by the sound of it is going to be the It Girls against Caribbean Flow. Again, they're not very complimentary to May. Again,
I don't know, man. May's getting such a rough time of it from everyone at the moment.
she's getting a bit. Who was it this week? Was it Sam? That wasn't Sam. It was.
Austin's giving her a hard time. Sam, well, not so much Sam. It was more Ella Envy
Thank you,
giving her a
Ella.
tight. Like, I'm just like, leave her alone. She's doing
Yeah.
a good job, and you're a pair of bitches. Leave her alone.
Yes, and next week those pair of bitches, as you rightfully said, will be defending the and well, I'd imagine they'll be defending their NWA Women's Tag Team Champions against Caribbean Flow, which should be a really good and interesting match between the four. Actually, I'll be looking forward to seeing that spotlighted a little bit more than NWA Spotlight later on. By the way, we'll let you know who we've got coming on. It has dropped on socials already, but we'll let you know in a minute. We're going to move now to main event time. I've got it now. It's the dance is this.
What? I'm lost.
Carsten Drake. Carsten
Oh,
Drake with his dance.
TBD.
The dance he does.
That was wonderful.
Um, yes, so Carsten Bartholomew Drake. I keep calling him Carsten. It's Carson.
Carson, just call him CBD.
CBD. I've got it written down as CBD. Against Max, Hell Awaits match. I just said the dance because he's done it about three different times before Max sort of rushed to the ring as Max does. There was weapons already in the damn ring. There was a present for Max on the outside of the ring,
Yep. But
which
this was for the World TV Championships,
the men's as
the
well.
men's World TV Championship.
CBD wouldn't be wrestling for the women's. Well, I don't know, maybe.
Who knows? But obviously, this is the second encounter within fairly close succession that the two of these guys, these two of the wrestlers have had with each
Yes,
other.
because it was a time limit draw last time,
It
wasn't it?
was a time limit draw, which CBD was just totally like, ah, well, Max didn't pin me, so I'm still unbeaten.
I did laugh at this because you can't get a sow in without a bit of white powder, can you?
I popped for that. I was like, Father James Mitchell, well played.
Mr.
Well
Mitchell.
played. It was Joe going, I didn't know it snowed in the studio. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Uh,
Considering what happened last year that we all know about, that was actually quite a funny spot.
it was. I really enjoy. Like yourself. I popped this morning when I was watching it at work. I did find that hilariously funny, especially because it's Jim Mitchell as well, of all people.
Yeah.
Should have been last year. There was a
There was
Christmas.
a lot going on in this match.
Oh, it's a Christmas tree, a staple gun. I found it funny when Carson was trying to staple stuff to Max, and Max was just like,
What you doing, you nugget?
Max staples something to Carson. It was
It was a dollar
on
bill,
the bill to Carson. There was so much. I mean, then we table the spear through the table, which didn't go
which
through.
didn't work the first time. Yeah.
So Max will sod this, launches him through instead.
And then there was the chair spot in the corner as well. The
Yeah,
chair falls down from the corner spot.
and this is how it ends. So the chair is meant to be
It's
wedged
wedged in
between.
between the t top and the middle rope.
That's it.
Yeah, and the
As you've seen
turnbuckle.
so many times on wrestling,
Yeah.
you see it. And generally, what happens is someone goes head first into it. That's what normally happens. The chair fell. So, but the good thing is they improvise very, very well.
Very quickly, very easily. Yeah.
Max very, very well. And he ended up kind of, I don't know if it was to the rib of Max or something like that.
But it got Max. I don't know,
Yeah,
somewhere in their middle, it got
rib area.
Max. And
Oh,
the way the chair had fallen, it was upside down, so it was the legs as well.
the legs of the chair hit at Max, and then Carlson rose Max up, grabs the tights, holding like she jumping her along the ring for the 1, 2, 3, and probably the biggest shock in NWA history. Carson Drake is now
New world television champion.
who'd have thunk it?
I have no idea. I don't think Kyle thunk it, so you speak, because I have literally written down Kyle's voice. Ha ha ha.
He
And if
was
you watch it back, when you hear Kyle announce the winner, his voice is like totally going. It's so funny.
the winner's Carson Drake.
No, oh no, I'm not, yeah.
But that wasn't the end.
It wasn't. It
Now,
wasn't. And the end, well, the ending of the match, I wasn't. I know we spoke, or you said this morning you knew that would happen, or you were pretty convinced CBD was going to win. I wasn't so convinced by that. Um, but what I was convinced by that something with Max and Father James Mitchell was going to go down, and I was proven right.
yeah, it's been brewing for some time with Max.
It has. It very much has.
Was it ever since Max lost the first championship?
There or thereabouts.
There or thereabouts, wasn't it? There's been a bit of back, and on this in this instance as well, he did kind of cost
Well,
Max.
that's it because Father James Mitchell kind of distracted Max a little bit,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of led to the roll up basically and the pin. But Max has made it be known that they are not happy with Mr. Mitchell.
By a massive lariat, I may add.
It was quite a spectacular lariat,
Left him laying on the floor, shall we say.
and that's pretty much how the show finished with Father James in the middle of the ring.
laying very much counting lights or sheep or whatever they or
I
powder.
don't even know. Was he awake? Like, he almost looked like he'd been knocked the fuck out, basically.
It could have well been. What I would say is a massive jump, a massive spike in viewership this week. Now, I think if we remember when I saw it last week, I want to say it was like when we were recording, it was at the 40 odd thousand mark. I think.
Hmm.
As we clicked record this evening, it was at 74 this week.
That's good. I like to hear that.
That's a
That's
big jump.
cool.
I mean, to be fair, last week's one still got over 100,000. So it didn't do any. It was just at the time that we record, it was like I think it was 53 the 2 weeks ago, 40 something at time of recording, and then this week 74.
I'm really intrigued by that, though, those figures. Is that people that have watched the whole show? Or is that people who've just clicked on it and watched 10 seconds and clicked off again? Do you know what I mean? So I'm really like, I wonder if those, obviously that's 50, 70, however many thousand people that have clicked on it, which is great. But I'd love to know how many of those people have actually watched the show from start to finish. And I don't know how there, I'm sure there is a way, but I don't know how you would measure that.
We can't, I don't think it's something that we can actually measure. It'd be something that the NWA, I
But
would.
that's exciting because when you look at the figures from them on YouTube,
Mhm.
they're much higher than the YouTube days for quite a lot of them.
Exactly that.
And they are definitely higher than the figures from CW.
Exactly. And that can only be a positive, right? Surely that can only be a positive. Well,
Absolutely, absolutely.
we've got more to come for next week. We'll talk about stuff that we've got going on in a minute, but we're going to have to break down the looks that kill card. As obviously this it is happening this coming Saturday. We will probably see it January, February time
Yeah, I would have thought so.
by the time we get to it. But we've still got to do it because it is a pay-per-view or a special event. We'll have to do it again soon for Shockwave.
Mm.
Adding the cards out for that. And again, that will probably give away what happens this week. But hey ho, it is what it is. I'm going to
But they're
break.
catching up. Let's be fair, they're catching up.
They are catching up. Yeah, in their defense, they are catching up. I'm going to just give us the match list as per the 1 to 13 that is on.
Okay, do you want to do predictions with each match as we go along then?
Yeah, we'll just say who we think's going to win.
Okay.
There is, I say, there's one match we can't do because it's TBD versus TBD.
They're marvelous wrestlers, I've heard.
Amazing ones. It's a cage match as well for those. There is another cage match which we'll get into, and that's the first match on this list, which was Markova and Nieves in a steel cage. I'm going for Markova.
I'm going for Markova on that.
I can't.
Absolutely 100%.
I mean, the pay-per-view's kind of named after her team with Brian Idol as well, which again kind of gives it. When I say gives it away, actually just would give her the advantage. But I think yeah, Markova for me wins this. Tiffany cost her the championship, right?
The number one
Number one
contendership.
contendership,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, number one contendership. So for me, Markova wins that one. Uh,
Grudge match if there was ever one.
Indeed, that's why it's inside a steel cage for a start. The next match is inside a steel cage, but it's TBD versus TBD. So I don't quite
I'll
know.
go with TBD.
I'm going with TBD. I want to say potentially the only match. Oh, no, maybe I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. Oh no, potentially it could be. I tell you what, it could be because it's the only match that I can see on here that's potentially not got a title, which is it could be Carson, Drake, and Max in a cage because they have not got a match on the card.
I wouldn't be going in a cage with
I
Max.
wouldn't be going in a cage with Max, but I'm just thinking that maybe to stop the Jim Mitchell influence.
Okay.
Potentially. Anyway, there you go. There's an extra point there if we get that right. Going for that. Um, a really good singles match. This is breaking down the tag match that we had earlier. So the tag match that we had earlier between the Southern Six, Brian Idol and Colby Corino is going to be separated into two single matches. I'm really looking forward to this one. This one's Colby and Kerry.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going for Kerry.
Oh.
Because didn't Colby pin Kerry this week? I'm sure he did.
Colby pinned Kerry with the L driver.
Yeah. So I'm going for
Yes,
Kerry. Then
I'm gonna go Colby.
you're going for Colby. There we go. So and then the next match underneath that is Thrill Billy versus Idol. I'm going for Thrill Billy.
You have to go with Billy. I'm sorry, Brian, but I can't see you outsmarting Billy, the biggest man that ever lived. Come on.
Yes, it's got to be the Thrill Billy for that for me, for sure. Next one is Nox and Murdoch against Daisy Kill and Talos for the tag team championship.
Knox Murdoch.
Yes,
Mainly because I want them to win, not because, well, I'm sure they will win, but I just, yeah.
I agree. And
While Talos and Daisy Kill are not my favorites and they are starting to grow on me, it's Trevor and Mike. Come on, what's not
Trevor
to
and Mike
love?
has to win. I was actually thinking the other the other team, the other people that haven't got a match on this yet that are champions is the Country Gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they could be in the cage. I don't know. We'll find out. But the next one is probably for me is going to be very close to match of the night. It's going to be Kenzie Page against the number one contender. This is a great time to plug this. The number one contender, who is also going to be our first NWA Spotlight guest of 2025. That is Holly Hood Haley J. Now be careful, Fee, because we are got her getting her on the show and we're predicting
We
this.
are, but I'm Kenzie all the way.
Do you know something? Like, I think Kenzie is going to win this.
I think Hollywood, though, is going to be sticking around, and I think we're going to see an awful lot more of her, and I think she's going to be in the title frame for some time.
Yeah, I'm kind of it's the first time with Kenzie I've been torn as to think on this because I don't know. Part of me thinks Hollywood might be the one. I'm sure eventually Mark Over's going to win it. Eventually that is going to happen in 2025. I just don't know if Hollywood. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to stick with Kenzie, but part of me thinks Hollywood might snick it somehow. But she's going to be our guest. She probably won't give anything away when she comes on. She won't have the Burke, regardless. I don't think, unless I don't know. Maybe she will. Who knows? We'll wait and see when we have her in January. Looking forward to having Haley J. We'll be doing the NWA review and then jumping straight on with Haley J. So we're looking forward to that as well. Next match is for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. It's Mims against Mr. Grimm. Mims.
Mims. He's got G's in his corner.
He
Says
does.
it all.
He does. The next 4 or 5 matches are very difficult because it's the It Girls against TBA.
Okay.
It's Alex Taylor versus TBA.
Okay.
It's Tom Latimer versus TBA. And EC3 versus TBA.
Okay.
TBA is very busy.
TBA is very busy. I'm just thinking though.
Oh, and sorry, and the match after that is also the Colons versus TBA.
Okay. Oh
Maybe
well, there's not a
Mike
lot we can do with
Mondo might be
them.
one of them. Mike Mondo might be one of them. He's going to
You
be,
said that last time.
yeah, all right. He's going to be, listen, he's going to be debuting at NWA at some point. He's already stated that he's going to be doing the NWA at some point. I am positive he's going to be debuting in this show. Who
Okay.
could he go against EC3? I don't think he's a junior heavyweight. If you've seen the look of him recently, he's like a fridge now. I don't think he's going to quite. So it's either that or it's EC3 or Latimer. I don't see him going straight off. I can't see Well, I can't see getting him straight into a world title shot unless he's a tag team with somebody and they take on the Colons.
Who knows?
Who knows? But there's one more match that we can predict, and this is a four-way match. It's Alex Misery again with Lev, with Slade and Hunter Drake. That is a four. That is going to be a brilliant match, by the way.
Lead.
Yeah, I can't look past him, but the other three
He's
in
so good.
there, all four of them are. All four of them. If you look at what Misery and Lev put on and Power this week, Slade is the beast, and then you've got the young whippersnapper, in Drake. I don't know, I think that it could. I think that match could be a lot closer. I do agree with you though. I do think that it's.
I'm going Slade on this one. We were speaking about him
Mm, it
last night on the Alliance blog
okay.
about how he's got the look about him. He's absolutely got the technical skills about him. He's no nonsense. He's all about getting the job done. Um, I just, yeah, I would go Slade.
I'm going to go Slade as well. So that's all we can wrap up in terms of the matches. We can't. There's lots of TBAs in this. I know it's a bit of a pain, but that's the thing at the moment with the NWA because they haven't announced a lot of it as well. They've announced who the champions are,
So
but
there's been no mention of the Country Gentlemen.
no,
There's been no mention of the Baron or Jax.
no,
There's been no mention of the Immortals.
nope. Who?
There's been no mention of
Fixer.
the
Zero.
Fixers. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of options there.
There is. There is a lot of options. I want the Fixers against the Immortals because I'd love that. Just I could spend the whole day going, oh, Fixers, oh.
Oh my God.
Never take me to an NWA show, especially if they imagine
No,
that.
I know we talked about it, and I'm like, nah, you're all right. Said the other side of the arena from you.
Wouldn't be that bad, honest. Well, look, it wraps up another great week of Power. That was an exciting episode. Lots of
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed that this weekend. Like, I don't really think there was a match on it that was like, meh.
no, there wasn't
And there
actually.
have been some shows where you've just been like,
Yeah.
but I it was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And this weekend, as we've just been saying, looks that kill. Fee, where is it? Is it Dolphin, Alabama?
Dothan, Alabama.
Lovely.
NWATix.com for those of you who are in the area and want to go. I actually do know a couple of people who are going to the show on Saturday, so I'm a little bit jealous.
No spoilers, please.
They won't.
Well, NWA do that themselves, to be fair, but
This is true.
let's just not try not to do as much for anybody else. Anyway, Fee, before we go, look, what's going on? You've had a big last couple of shows. Do you have quite a big?
Friday, Saturday were two big. Well, Saturday was a big show. Friday was the PBW Academy Showcase show, Academy Attacks, where we had lots of debuts from some pretty nervous youngsters who all smashed it out the park on Friday. So that was great. Saturday was a huge show, British Championship Wrestling in East Kilbride. I was promoter for the night. Our promoter was not able to be there. So myself and Kid Fight and Jordan Mackay were in charge of the goings on, and it went off without a hitch, which I'm pleased to say. So if the promoter ever needs to go on holiday again, he knows that it's been or going work or whatever, he knows that it's in safe hands. So it went really, really well. Due to the weather and the storm that hit at the weekend, unfortunately, as always with wrestling, cards subject to change.
Yeah.
The English contingent didn't make the trip north. The weather was just too bad, particularly over the Pennines and stuff. And it was deemed that probably a little bit unsafe for them to travel up in that weather and those wind conditions. So unfortunately, we didn't have Sheikh El Sham, we didn't have Joey Hayes, and we didn't have CJ Banks, and it was going to be CJ's last show with us before he retires. So we were gutted. But we got some great replacements, including somebody making a BCW debut, who made his debut in none other than the main event for the BCW World Heavyweight Championship. And that was Landon Riley, who put on a phenomenal match with our champion Daz Black. Unfortunately, he fell short and Daz retained. So it was such a good night, though. I had a blast. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
That was that. This weekend, Friday is my last show before Christmas. Pro Wrestling Scotland are in Moodiesburn at the Knights of St Columba Club. I haven't seen the card yet, but as always, it will be a banger. That venue's always crazy. The kids are always wild. So it should be a fun night. Ringsideworld.co.uk for tickets for that if you're up in the Glasgow-ish area.
Wow. So your last show's on Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. I have two more shows before the end of the year, though.
Okay.
That's the first one before Christmas. I have W3L on the 27th and the 28th of December as well.
Cool. And then you got Inside the Ropes as well, right?
Then I'm getting Inside the Ropes in January. No actual shows in January, but Inside the Ropes end of January, beginning of February. And then from February onwards, things ramp up again. So lots of exciting things in the works for 2025. So that's cool.
I just realized that my interview bits have gone crazy these last few days. Like before Christmas, like just for example, tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing Zach Knight from obviously the famous Knight family, Saraya, Zach Knight, AEW, and then tomorrow night I'm going to be interviewing Todd Gordon from ECW.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Man, that was the secondary mastermind with Paul Heyman.
Mm.
I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow. Friday, I've got our good friend Gio from Rev Pro. Now he works for Pro Wrestling Ceasefire. I don't know the ins and outs of what that's about, but he was asked to come on and talk some pro wrestling ceasefire. So I have absolutely agreed for that to happen. And then the week before Christmas, I'm going to the land of extreme fee. So I may not make it back because
We
the person
say,
I'm interviewing is Francine from East.
oh,
The,
nice.
the Queen of Extreme is coming to town. Uh,
That'll be fun. That'll be a good chat.
and then I don't finish my extreme tour continues into January because we're going to be interviewing CW Anderson from ECW as well.
Okay.
Got a lot of ECW, and then on top of that, Ruthless Rob Drake, whose husband is Lana. Sorry, he's husband of Lana Austin. I'll get that right. Eventually, he will be coming on in January as well, and of course, the lovely Hollywood Haley J, who we've probably
I
offended.
keep wanting to call her by her old name.
Hollywood Haley J,
Yeah.
because she was in The Wrestlers. Everyone, for those of you that don't know, and she was obviously actually in Slam Masters actually over in Wales. She was champion, I think, at one point. I mean, but we've probably offended her already by saying that Kenzie's going to win the championship. And funnily enough, we were interviewing her a few days before Shockwave.
Okay.
We were so it was scheduled to record with Haley J on the 8th of January after we
Shockwave's the 11th or 12th, I believe.
and the 11th is Shockwave. So we interview her a
Okay.
few days before Shockwave. So that's an interesting one. And then finally, just a few more events that we're running off this coming Saturday. We're going to be at RCWA over in Raynham. Our boy Taylor James, we've got a few issues with him as well at the minute, but he's running the show this weekend. So we're going to go and give him some support. Shall we say? Tuesday, we're going to have our very first first time ever that we're going to go to Riot Cabaret. We're going to have some music and fun. I think it's a wrestling musical. I don't quite know. Thunder Rose is going to be there. That's what I know. It's Danny
Nice.
Luna. That's one of the matches on the show. And Nico Angelo is going to be there. I think Crowley and Spike Trevay.
Oh, I love Crowley. I miss him.
Crowley, yes, he's going to be there. And then finally, on the 27th of December, we're going to be at Prodigy Pro Wrestling over in my neck of the woods, and I'm bringing the boys with me. The Ignite boys are coming down. Actually, we're coming up, down, I don't know, from where Boreham Wood area, all the way to lovely Essex for a show. And then, of course, don't forget though, guys, Ignite's or Ignite's events for the year are up subject to change. I'm hearing that the May show may be moving. So let Ignite confirm that, but there's things up. And then obviously February the 9th. Hang on. No. Yes. Yes. February the 9th. Sorry, February the 9th. It's chapter 4 from Ignite. You'll get to see the main event of Tate Mayfair's. He wants the Ignite Championship, which means he's got to beat Tommy Kyle to get it. There's other matches that are going to be on that show as well. We don't know if the Turnbuckle Championship is going to be up for grabs. That would be depend on the grumpy pants of Christmas, Mark True. We're going to have a chat with him after Christmas to see if he's going to show up or not. More on that
Good
in a
enough.
couple of weeks. But Fee, we've come to the end of this NWA. But as always, I'll always say this: shall we do this again next week?
We shall indeed. I was about to say maybe not, but Christmas Eve, I'm a week ahead of myself, so we'll just scrap that. Yes, we shall.
We shall do that next week. Follow us on Blue Sky, HTTB, I think, at Blue Sky. Follow
hmm
us on there, Hitting the Turnbuckle, HTTB, and X, HTTB on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on Instagram. But we'll be back next week for Samhain Part 3. And until then, she has been Fiona Lochran. I have been Adam Cousins, and you have been watching the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Bye bye.